Did you know that marrying a lazy husband is one of the worst things that can happen to a woman? You cook, clean, work, even when you are heavily pregnant, while he sits around eating like a child with zero responsibility. Grab your popcorn. Let me tell you the story of Nkechi and her lazy husband. Nkechi was 7 months pregnant, but woke up every day before anyone else in her village. Not because she enjoyed waking early, not because she slept well, but because her life gave her no rest. Her body was always in pain, her back hurt, her legs swelled, her stomach felt heavy and tight from carrying her unborn child. Many times, she wanted to lie down longer, but hunger did not allow her. She placed her hand on her belly and whispered to her unborn baby, "Hold on, my child, Mama is trying." Then she stood up and started moving. She swept the floor, washed the plates, and cleaned the small house before preparing food for her husband. While stirring the pot, she leaned on the wall because her waist was aching badly. She finished cooking and served Ikenna food while he was still asleep. He did not say thank you. He did not even know how much effort it took her to prepare that meal. By the time she left the house, the food was still waiting beside his bed. Nkechi tied her wrapper tightly and carried her basket to the farm. The walking was slow. Each step felt heavy. Her feet hurt badly, but she did not stop. She walked on the farm until her hands were tired, her face wet with sweat, and her stomach tight with pain. Sometimes, her baby kicked her from inside and she had to stop and breathe. She pressed her belly gently and said, "Please, let Mama finish work." Then she continued. After working on the farm, she rushed home, cleaned herself, changed her clothes, and carried her goods to the market. The market was always crowded and noisy, but Nkechi did not mind. She arranged her goods on the table and started selling. She smiled at buyers even when her body was telling her to sit down. She counted money, attended to customers, and ignored her pain. When she finished selling, she counted her money carefully. Then she separated it. 70% was for her husband, 30% was for herself and her pregnancy. It was never enough. With the little money left, she bought soap, salt, and a few food items. She also tried to save something small for her baby. Then she walked back home slowly. At home, Ikenna was now awake. He stretched his body and yawned as if he had done all the work in the world. He smiled when he saw her. "How was market today?" he asked. Nkechi opened her purse and brought out the money without complaining. She gave him 70% of what she made, like always. He collected it quickly and checked if it was complete. Then he stood up. "I'm going out," he said as he walked away. Nkechi did not ask where he was going. She already knew. He went drinking every evening with her money while she stayed behind. She cooked small food for herself and ate quietly. Sometimes she was too tired to even eat. She lay down and rested only for a short while before preparing for the next day. Later that evening, her best friend came around. Her name was Uju. Uju sat with her and spoke kindly to her. "You are really strong," Uju said. "Not every woman can carry pregnancy like you and still walk." Nkechi smiled weakly. "When I'm tired, I remember my child," Nkechi said. Uju nodded. "Your husband is a good man. He just needs time." Each time Nkechi complained about her husband, Uju always defended him.
"Men change slowly," she would say. "Just be patient. Everything will be okay." And because Uju was her closest friend, Nkechi listened. Uju stayed with her until night before leaving. Not long after, Ikenna returned, drunk. He entered the house and fell on the mat without greeting or caring how she was feeling. Nkechi watched him and sighed quietly. She lay beside him with pain in her body and worry in her heart. Around the village, people were already talking. They whispered about how hard Nkechi worked. They whispered about how lazy Ikenna was. "That woman works too much. That man doesn't care about his pregnant wife." People shook their heads when Nkechi passed. Some pitied her, some mocked her. But nobody spoke to her openly. She heard nothing. Yet, that night, Nkechi held her belly and whispered, "My child, your life will not be like mine." She closed her eyes, tired and empty inside. Nkechi began to fear her husband's voice more than hunger. Hunger only made her weak. Ikenna's words made her feel useless. It didn't take her long to realize that carrying pregnancy was lighter than carrying a lazy man. Each morning, the work was the same. Each evening, the disappointment was heavier. Ikenna no longer pretended to care. He did not help in the house. He did not go to the farm. He did not try to trade in the market. His only work was sleeping, eating, and drinking. And when Nkechi returned from the market tired and empty-handed, he turned into a bitter man. One evening, she came home with barely any money in her purse. The market had been slow. Customers had bargained too hard. Her goods had spoiled faster than expected. She entered the house quietly. Ikenna sat on the bench waiting, already impatient. He stood up and walked toward her. "Where is the money?" he asked roughly. Nkechi opened her purse, counted the little money inside, gave him his portion. His face changed. "This is rubbish," he said, throwing the money onto the floor. "Is this what you worked all day to bring back?" Her chest tightened. "I tried," she whispered. He laughed loudly. "Ha ha ha ha, you are lazy." That word burned her ears. Lazy. A pregnant woman who went to the farm and market daily. Lazy. A woman who cleaned, cooked, worked, and gave him money. "You are useless," he continued. "Other women bring food home. You bring shame." Her throat tightened painfully. "I did my best," she said softly. Ikenna pushed past her. "I should have married a strong woman, not someone who complains every day." Tears filled her eyes, but she refused to let them fall, not in front of him. She bent down quietly and picked the money from the floor. Even in his insult, she still cleaned his disrespect. That night, she did not eat. She lay down hungry, holding her belly and wondering how a man could be so cruel to a woman carrying his child. Another day came, another market trip, another failure. The same house, the same insult, the same pain. Whenever she made little sales, Ikenna insulted her. Whenever she came home weak, he mocked her. Whenever she complained of pain, he laughed. "You use pregnancy as an excuse," he said one day. "You are just lazy." That word again. Lazy. She wanted to scream. She wanted to tell him that her bones were cracking, that her heart was breaking, that her feet were swollen with suffering. But she swallowed her cry, because arguing with Ikenna only brought more pain. One evening, she arrived home late and empty-handed. Ikenna was already drunk. He stood in front of her, eyes red. "You went to gossip instead of working," he accused. She shook her head. "No, market was slow." "You are a liar," he shouted. He hit the wall beside her. Her heart jumped. He had never hit her, but his anger scared her. "Look at you, always tired, always complaining. What kind of wife are you?" She tried to walk past him, but he blocked her. "Talk," he shouted. "Say something." Nkechi's voice trembled. "I'm tired. I'm pregnant." He laughed bitterly. Pregnancy did not stop other women from working. That night, she cried. Silently. Her tears soaked the mat beneath her body. She cried for herself. She cried for her baby. She cried because love had turned into punishment. Ikenna never apologized, not once. Every day he demanded money. Every night he drank. Every morning he insulted her. He woke up late. He slept early. He lived like a child with no responsibility. Nkechi became weak. Her body grew tired, but her womb grew heavy. She continued working because if she stopped, they would starve. There were days she went to the market with dizziness, days her vision blurred, days she sat down and rested her head between her knees to avoid falling. There were days she vomited and kept walking. No rest, no care, no sympathy, not from the man who put the child inside her. Sometimes she asked herself, is marriage supposed to be suffering? Is this how love ends? Is this where dreams come to die? One evening she collapsed inside the house, not fully, but enough to scare herself. Her knees failed her. She held on to the wall, breathing slowly. She feared she might lose her baby. That thought scared her more than death. She lay on the mat and placed both hands on her belly. "My child, please don't go," she whispered. Ikenna entered shortly after, drunk. He stepped past her, did not ask what was wrong, did not check if she was alive. He cooked nothing. She cooked nothing. They slept in hunger, together, yet worlds apart. People in the village noticed her change. Her face grew thinner. Her eyes lost light. Her walking slowed. But nobody interfered. In the village, suffering married women were not surprising. They were normal. They were expected. And Nkechi kept enduring because she thought maybe tomorrow he would change. But tomorrow only brought more insults, more pain, more hunger, more loneliness. And inside her womb, her child grew, growing inside suffering, growing inside pain, growing inside a mother who refused to give up. If pain had a voice, it would sound like Nkechi's silence. Every evening she sat in her small room, tired from work, holding her heavy stomach and asking herself quiet questions. How longer? How much stronger? How much pain before it ends? She no longer spoke freely to Ikenna, not because everything had become okay, but because nothing ever changed. Whenever she complained, arguments followed. Whenever she tried to talk, shouting replied. So she kept quiet. She carried everything inside like a woman carrying two lives, her baby and her sadness. But there was one person who still came around, Uju, her friend, her sister, her comfort. Every few days, Uju would come to visit her in the evening. She always came with a bright face and calm voice. Nkechi, my sister, she would say warmly as she sat down beside her. Nkechi would smile weakly and shift her body to make space. Uju always touched her belly. Our baby, she would say lightly. This child will be special. Those words always made her smile, even when nothing else could. Uju talked a lot. She told stories. She made jokes. She tried to make Nkechi forget her pain. One evening, Nkechi finally spoke again. Her voice was low but heavy. Uju, I'm tired. Uju turned and looked at her closely. Tired how? Tired of working, tired of giving money, tired of being blamed for things I can't control. Uju sighed softly and nodded. My sister, you think your case is difficult. Let me tell you something. That night, Uju told her stories of other women in the village, ones who were treated badly, ones who cried into pillows at night, ones who silently wondered where they went wrong. 9 women I know have thought about leaving their marriages, Uju said seriously. They are hurting in ways you might never understand. Nkechi listened quietly. Uju leaned closer. One woman has no support at all. Another raises children alone in her marriage. One feeds everybody but eats last like you. One married a good man who changed later. Another married a man who never changed. Uju shook her head slowly. All of them cry at night like you. Nkechi swallowed.
So why am I complaining? She asked softly. Uju smiled gently. That's the point. Your situation is not the worst. It's just a phase. A small problem compared to what others are facing. Nkechi was silent for a long time. So you think I should keep enduring? She asked. Uju nodded. Yes, endure. Keep giving him money. Keep supporting him. He will change. Men always change. Nkechi sighed deeply. Sometimes I feel like I'm trying alone. Uju held her hand. You are not alone. You have me. And you have hope. That word, hope. It sounded sweet. It sounded like rest. It sounded like light. So Nkechi believed. Again. Another day. Another market disappointment. Another evening. Another knock on the door. Uju again. This time, Nkechi's face was heavy. She had returned home with very little money. Her feet hurt. Her body felt weak. Ikenna had insulted her again and left the house. Uju entered and saw her sitting quietly. What happened? Uju asked. Nkechi wanted to keep quiet, but the words came out like about to fall tears. He said I am lazy. Uju frowned. Don't let that enter your heart. Men speak out of frustration. He doesn't mean it. Nkechi wept her face. He keeps asking for money, she said. He never asks how I'm feeling. Uju nodded slowly. That's how some men are. Give him what you can. Support him. When he succeeds, he will remember your sacrifice. Nkechi sighed. What if I stop giving him? Uju shook her head quickly. Don't! That might push him further. Be wise. Patience attracts change. These words healed her heart every time. Or so she thought. Night after night, Uju repeated the same advice. Give him money. Don't hold back. Support your husband.
Marriage is sacrifice. Your child will thank you later. Nkechi listened and obeyed. If Uju said it would get better, then maybe it would. She continued handing over her money, continued returning tired, continued cooking alone, continued sleeping beside a man who barely noticed her pain. Because she trusted Uju, because she believed patience had a reward, because she wanted her child to grow up in a complete home. One evening, after Uju had left, Nkechi sat alone. The house was quiet. Her belly was heavy. Her heart was heavier. Her thoughts refused to rest. She whispered to herself, maybe she's right. Maybe I just need to wait longer. But something in her felt uneasy. Not fear, just confusion. Like something was missing. Like something was not right. She could not explain it. So she ignored it. Like she ignored her tired body. Like she ignored her sad heart. Like she ignored her doubts. She lay down slowly and closed her eyes. All around her, the village was quiet, but inside her, questions were loud. She did not know that the person who encouraged her the most was the one quietly pushing her deeper into suffering. The village had a way of talking, sometimes quietly, sometimes loudly, and sometimes like fire in dry grass. At first, the talk about Itena and Uju was small. People spoke in corners, in low voices, with quick glances. One woman would say something, then stop when Nkechi passed. Another would shake her head in silence. Another would laugh oddly and change topic when her name came up. Nkechi noticed, but she ignored it. She told herself that village talk had no blood, no weight, no truth. Then one evening, a neighbor spoke up. Have you noticed how Ikena and Uju are always together at the village square? She asked casually. Nkechi froze. Together? She asked calmly. Yes, almost every day. Laughing, talking, sitting close. Nkechi frowned slightly. But Uju is my friend, my sister, she replied. The woman nodded slowly. I'm just telling you what we see. Nkechi forced a smile and waved it away. These people like to talk, but the words stuck. The next time she went to the market, she heard it again. I see them sit together every evening. They stroll like they have no worries. Your husband buys many things, but you never wear them. Nkechi began to notice things. Small things. At first she ignored them. Then they refused to be ignored. Ikena indeed buy things sometimes. Shoes, hair items, necklaces. But Nkechi never received any gifts. Never. Yet, villagers saw him carrying things. So where did they go? She shook her head. Impossible, she told herself. Uju can never do that. She wipes my tears. She listens to me. She supports me. She calls my baby hers. People are just jealous. Each whisper that came to her ear she pushed away with anger. Each rumor she crushed with trust. But whispers are stubborn. They follow you home. They follow you to bed. They follow you into your thoughts. Another woman pulled her aside one day. I don't mean harm, but you should open your eyes, she said softly. What are you seeing? Nkechi snapped. The truth. Nkechi walked away, trembling. Not from fear, but from anger. How could anyone think Uju was like that? How dare they? Then something strange happened. Ikena changed. Not completely, but noticeably. He no longer insulted her. He no longer shouted. He began to ask quietly, how are you today? Did you eat? Is the baby fine? Nkechi was shocked. The man who once called her lazy now used soft words. The man who blamed her for everything now smiled. He did not start working. He did not go to the farm. He did not reduce drinking. He still relied on her money daily. But his mouth changed. To Nkechi, that was everything. She took the change as progress. She took kindness as transformation. She took his quietness as proof that Uju was right. She hurried to Uju's place that evening, smiling. You were right. He's changing. Uju smiled gently. I told you. Nkechi held her hands. Thank you, she said sincerely. My home is getting better. Uju squeezed her fingers. Continue supporting him. It's working. Nkechi felt proud, like a woman whose patience finally bore fruit. So, she continued. She gave money. She worked harder. She complained less because her husband now smiled. That was enough. Or so she thought. Then one evening, Ikenna came home looking unusually serious. He sat beside her silently. She noticed something in his eyes. "Is everything okay?" she asked. He cleared his throat. "I want to start a business." Nkechi's heart lifted. "What kind of business?" "Palm oil," he said confidently. "I want to sell in the market." Her heart beat faster. At last, her husband wanted to work. She asked, "How much do you need?" He mentioned an amount that nearly stole her breath. It was more than she had ever saved, more than she had in her hand, more than her body had suffered for. "That is a lot," she said calmly. He nodded. "But it will change everything." Nkechi thought about her baby, her tired body. She wanted this change. She wanted a better life. She said, "I don't have that much, but I can give you a small amount for now, just to test it. I will balance you next week." Ikenna smiled, a soft smile. "I trust you." She gave him the little money she had set aside. He collected it happily and left. That night, Nkechi lay on her mat, smiling. For the first time in a long time, she slept with hope hugging her heart. After Ikenna collected the money for his so-called business, something about him changed again, not in a good way. He stopped coming home early. Then he started coming home late, very late. Then sometimes, he didn't come home at all. The first night he slept out, Nkechi told herself not to worry. Maybe he stayed with a friend, she thought. The second night she told herself the same thing. The third night she couldn't sleep. Her body rested, but her mind raced. Her heart pounded. By the fourth night, she noticed something strange. Ikenna always left the house quietly, too quietly, like someone who did not want to be seen.
She would pretend to be asleep, but her ears were open. She listened carefully each night, the soft sound of the door opening, the gentle footsteps, then silence. And she would lie there, staring into darkness, talking to her heart. "Don't think wrongly," she told herself, but her heart refused to rest. Sometimes he returned close to morning. Sometimes he didn't return at all. When she asked him casually, he gave fake answers. "Oh, I was tired. I slept at a friend's place. I had business to attend to." His voice did not carry truth. It carried escape. Then, her spirit could no longer keep quiet. One evening, he sneaked out again, thinking she was asleep. That night, Nkechi rose slowly from her mat. Her heart beat loudly. Her hands shook. Her body was heavy with pregnancy, but she stood quietly. She tied her wrapper, covered her head, and walked out. She followed him from a distance, carefully, slowly. Her feet felt weak. Her eyes were sharp. Her heartbeat was louder than her footsteps. He walked confidently, without looking back, as if he already knew where he was going. Nkechi followed, street by street, corner by corner. Her knees began to shake, not from walking, but from fear. She prayed silently as she walked. "God, please, let me be wrong. Let me be foolish. Let this not be what I think." Then he stopped, in front of a familiar house. Her heart dropped. She lifted her head slowly and saw the door, Uju's door. Her vision blurred, her breath caught, her legs nearly failed her. Her best friend's house, her friend, her sister, her comfort. He stepped closer and knocked softly. The door opened, quickly, like it had been expected, and he entered. Nkechi stood there, frozen, like someone who had just lost her shadow. She did not move, did not breathe, did not cry. Her eyes were wide. Her heart was shattered beyond repair. All the things she refused to believe, all the rumors she waved away, all the whispers she fought, they all stood before her now, clear, loud, unavoidable. Her best friend and her husband, together, in the same house, at the same time. She turned away slowly, like a broken woman walking out of her own life. She did not shout, she did not knock, she did not disturb them. She walked home quietly. Each step broke something inside her. Each breath caught something deep. When she entered her room, she collapsed completely. That was where the tears came. Not soft tears, heavy ones. Tears from betrayal, tears from disappointment, tears from pain too deep to speak. She cried into her mat until her eyes burned. She held her belly tightly. "My child, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry."
Her chest heaved, her body shook, her heart screamed without voice. How could Uju do this to her? The same woman who taught her to endure, the same woman who forced patience into her heart, the same woman who kept telling her to give him money. All along, she had been feeding her own pain. All along, she had been funding her own betrayal. That night, Nkechi did not sleep. She cried until her eyes had no tears left. Then she cried some more because pain creates new tears. She remembered everything. Uju's smile, Uju's hugs, Uju's words, all now tasted bitter. How could a friend smile to your face and slowly break your home behind your back? Her heart felt empty, her body felt heavy, her soul felt tired. By morning, her eyes were swollen, her face pale, her heart bruised, but her mind was silent. No anger, no shouting, no plans, just quiet, a dangerous quiet. And when quiet people are hurt deeply, they are the most dangerous ones. After the night she discovered Ikenna and Uju together, Nkechi's life changed completely. She no longer cooked for him. She no longer gave him money. She avoided Uju wherever she went. She stayed alone in her small hut, keeping to herself and speaking only to her unborn child. Her hands, once busy from dawn to dusk, now rested. Her eyes, once tired from worry, now watched. She was quiet, but her mind was sharp. She had a plan. Whenever Ikenna came home drunk, stumbling and laughing as if nothing had happened, Nkechi was ready. She no longer welcomed him. She locked the door firmly, keeping him outside. If he tried to push past her, she would stand silently, her eyes sharp, letting him feel the weight of his actions. She gathered his belongings, his clothes, sandals, and small tools, and put them in the goat hut at the far end of the compound. That goat hut became his home. The man who had insulted and relied on her so heavily now slept among the goats, humiliated. Each morning he woke there, each night he returned there, whether drunk or sober. Nkechi did not waver, but she wanted more than punishment. She wanted justice. She wanted them to feel what it meant to betray her. Nkechi knew exactly where to go. At the edge of the village, there was an old native doctor, old and feared, known for powerful charms. She had visited him before, long ago, to learn secrets of the land and power of charms. Now she went to him again, not for love, not for forgiveness, but for revenge. She entered her hut quietly. The doctor looked at her, nodded, and listened as she spoke. I want them to suffer, she said firmly. I want him and her together, and I want the village to see. The doctor smiled slightly. I understand, he said. He gave her a small charm and instructions. This charm, he explained, will make their bodies stick together whenever they try to sleep together. They will be conjoined and forced to go to the village square. There they will be seen and shamed. Nothing will separate them until they come out publicly in disgrace. Nkechi nodded. Her hands were steady, her heart firm. This was her plan. Back home, she followed the instructions exactly. She put the charm in Ikenna's body oil without anyone noticing. She continued her life quietly. She did not give him food. She did not give him money. She avoided Uju at the market and everywhere else. She stayed in her hut, quiet and watchful, her belly growing heavier, her steps slower, but her mind sharper than ever before.
The next day, as predicted by the native doctor, it happened exactly as Nkechi had planned. Ikenna, as usual, tried to sneak away to Uju's hut, but the charm worked instantly. As soon as they touched, their bodies stuck together. No matter how they struggled, no matter how they pushed or pulled, they could not separate. The villagers, who had been watching quietly for days, rushed out and grabbed them. They were dragged to the village square. The shame was immediate. People pointed, people whispered, people laughed softly, shaking their heads in disbelief at the betrayal they had long suspected. Ikenna and Uju struggled, but it was useless. They were bound together, helpless and on full display. The charm was absolute. For 7 market days, the villagers watched them. Every day they were brought out for all to see. No one spoke to them kindly, no one helped them. They became the subjects of ridicule and shame. Meanwhile, in her small hut, Nkechi felt a strange mix of satisfaction and calm. She had not lifted a finger to punish them herself.
The magic had done its work. Her heart, once heavy with betrayal, was now lighter. She focused on her baby. Her body, worn from months of work and worry, began to feel a new kind of strength. Finally, the day came when the charm broke. Ikenna and Uju, exhausted and defeated, could no longer continue their charade. The villagers whispered that they had learned their lesson. But for Nkechi, it no longer mattered. She had already moved on. A few weeks later, Nkechi gave birth. Her baby was healthy, strong, and beautiful. She held the child close, feeling a love so deep it filled every corner of her heart. She never allowed Ikenna near the baby, not for a moment, not for a glance. The man who had betrayed her and the friend who had joined in the betrayal were no longer part of her world. They lived like outcasts in the village. No one spoke to them freely. No one welcomed them into homes. They were a warning to others. Nkechi, on the other hand, flourished. She woke early, not because she had to, but because she wanted to. She cooked for herself. She cared for her child. She worked in the farm and market at her own pace. No one demanded her money. No one insulted her. No one betrayed her. Her baby's laughter filled her small heart. Her heart was finally at peace. The village watched quietly, seeing a woman who had endured suffering, betrayal, and hardship rise stronger than ever. Nkechi's story became one told quietly among other women in the village. A story of strength. And most importantly, a story of a mother who chose herself and her child over a home built on lies. She lived happily with her baby, free from fear, free from betrayal, and full of hope for the future. Ikenna and Uju remained outside her life, forever reminded of their mistakes, while Nkechi's days were filled with joy, laughter, and love. The life she had always deserved.